Democritus, the man who saw atoms before science. In ancient Greece, myths still shaped how many people understood the world. Storms, earthquakes, disease, and fortune could all be read as signs of divine power. But another habit of mind had begun to appear: the search for natural explanations. Among the boldest thinkers in that movement was Democritus, a philosopher who asked a question so radical it still feels modern. What if reality is built not from divine intention, but from invisible material parts moving through empty space? Democritus was born around 460 BCE and is associated with the city of Abdera, a place other Greeks sometimes mocked as provincial. Yet from that supposedly ordinary city came one of antiquity's most extraordinary ideas. Much about his life is uncertain, because his writings survive only in fragments and later reports. Even so, his name endured because it became attached to one of the most daring theories in ancient thought. Democritus did not emerge from a vacuum. Earlier Greek thinkers had already begun turning away from myth and toward reason, asking what the world is made of and how change happens. Ancient sources also link Democritus closely with Leucippus, the figure usually credited with originating atomism. But whether Democritus inherited the theory or he helped reshape it, he became its greatest early architect. At the center of his philosophy was a simple but explosive claim: everything consists of atoms and void. The atoms, he argued, were eternal, indivisible bodies too small to see. The void was empty space, and without it, nothing could move. From these two principles, Democritus built an entire view of nature. The differences between things did not come from hidden spirits or sacred essences. They came from the arrangement, form, and motion of atoms. Change was real, but it did not require magic. It required only matter in motion. That idea was astonishing for its time. Democritus had no microscope, no chemistry, no experimental physics, and no way to observe atoms directly. He could not test them in the modern scientific sense. He could only reason toward them. And yet by reasoning alone, he imagined that beneath the visible world lies a hidden material order. That is why his thought still feels so striking. He was not doing science as we understand it today, but he was doing something historically immense, trying to explain reality through structure rather than myth. Ancient tradition says Democritus traveled widely, spending much of his inheritance in pursuit of knowledge. Later accounts send him to Egypt, Persia, and perhaps even farther east. Those stories cannot all be verified, but they fit the image preserved in memory. A restless mind, more interested in understanding than in comfort, reputation, or wealth. Whether he journeyed as far as later writers claimed or not, his philosophy carries the mark of someone who refused to let inherited custom define the limits of truth. Democritus was interested not only in what we see, but in what lies beneath appearance. He argued that the senses give us a limited picture of the world, while reason can push deeper. Color, taste, texture, heat, and sound belong to experience as we live it, but reason, he believed, can reveal a more fundamental level of reality. In that sense, Democritus was doing more than proposing a theory of matter. He was redefining what it means to know. Later tradition remembered him as the laughing philosopher. The image may be stylized, but it captures something important. Democritus looked at the way human beings chased wealth, status, and power, and found much of it absurd. From the perspective of nature, vanity seemed ridiculous. His laughter was not mere mockery. It expressed distance, proportion, and a refusal to treat human ambition as the center of the universe. There is even a famous story that the people of Abdera thought he had gone mad and called Hippocrates to examine him. It is a powerful image, though almost certainly legend rather than secure biography. Still, the story survived because it fits a familiar type. The thinker who sounds irrational only because his age lacks the framework to understand him. And Democritus was not only a philosopher of matter, he was also a philosopher of balance. He spoke of euthymia, a state of inner steadiness, calm, and cheerfulness. True happiness for him did not come from excess, luxury, or applause. It came from proportion and self-command. In that sense, his ethics matched his cosmology. Just as the universe had order beneath apparent confusion, a good life required order beneath impulse. His ideas did not become the dominant philosophy of the ancient world. Aristotle became atomism's great classical critic, defending a very different view of matter, while Plato's thought moved in another direction altogether. Over time, Democritus's own books were mostly lost. What survived came down in fragments, quotations, and second-hand accounts. For centuries, his voice remained present more as an influence than as a full body of work. Yet he endured because the central intuition was too powerful to disappear. Modern science did not prove Democritus right in every detail. His atoms were not the atoms of modern chemistry or physics, and later science showed that atoms themselves have internal structure. But the broad insight was extraordinary, that the visible world rests on invisible constituents, and that reason can reach beyond appearance to hidden reality. That does not make Democritus a modern scientist in ancient robes. It makes him something more interesting. One of the earliest thinkers to imagine that nature might be explained without appealing to myth, divine mood, or cosmic drama. That is why he still matters. He stands at a turning point in human thought. He belongs to a world still crowded with gods, yet he searched for law, structure, and material cause. He left behind no complete masterpiece, no victorious school, and no instrument capable of proving his theory. What he left was a way of seeing reality as intelligible, ordered, and deeper than appearances suggest. And sometimes that is where intellectual revolutions begin. Not with proof, not with power, but with the courage to ask a question before the world is ready for the answer. Democritus was one of those rare minds. Before science had the tools, he had the nerve to imagine that the universe was built from things no eye could see. And that is why his idea still echoes across history. Not because he solved everything, but because he dared to look past the surface of the world and think deeper than his age.